Where does the peace process begin? That's the question we're exploring tonight, and it's a huge topic, and we can't possibly cover it all. But our two guests are going to give us a slight focus. They're a Christian couple, Father Samuel and his wife Susan Barhoum. They are a Christian couple living in the Galilee, so they'll be able to give us that perspective on peace. But we begin on the streets with some thoughts about what you have to say about peace.
My idea of being peaceful is bringing Jesus Christ to others, helping them to experience His loving embrace, and sharing His light with the world.
My idea of peace is not fighting with siblings and making sure that you're nice to everybody.
I guess putting my daughter first, yeah, and always thinking of the next generation.
Okay, I try and meet everyone with a smile. A smile makes a smile.
Not fighting and loving one another.
My idea of keeping the peace probably be to share with others, because then you won't be fighting over land, toys, I guess.
To be thankful all the time for all of the blessings in our lives, because that helps us to be thankful for the people in our lives and to wish them goodness as well.
My way of keeping peace is probably love your neighbors and think of all the saints and always pray every night.
Now, those are some thoughts on peace from people on the street, mostly secular thoughts, and it's not surprising. Now, it is my sense that most of us in Canada have a very different idea of what peace is from people living in other countries. And so a different perspective is going to be offered to us by our two guests. We're joined by Father Samuel Barhoum and his wife Susan. Father Samuel is a priest with the Anglican Diocese of Jerusalem. He's the rector of the Holy Family Episcopal Church in Rainey, which is just, correct me if I'm wrong, but between Nazareth and Cana in Galilee, and his wife Susan. Welcome. This is probably a completely unfair question to start with, but one lesson that you've learned about peace from living in Israel?
I guess peace, it's something possible, that we can have peace if we teach peace the right way. Okay. Because peace is not something will come within an overnight. It's something that you have to teach and to learn.
Okay, would you agree with that?
Yes, it's something that we can achieve if we go along the right way.
Okay, and I guess we're going to talk about what the right way is.
Right.
That's why you're here. But let me just, again, to get some background, correct me if I'm wrong, but your family is, or some of your family is from England?
My mother.
And you lived in England for a bit?
No.
No, you've never. So you
Never
both were born and grew up in Israel, or in Galilee,
Yes.
right?
I grew up in what is now the Palestinian territories.
Okay.
Ramallah.
In Ramallah.
Okay. Now, but you could have moved to England.
Yes.
So I'm just curious, why not move to a place like England? Why stay in Israel?
Because this is it's my homeland, and it's been my family's homeland since we can trace my family back to the 4th century.
Oh, really?
As Christians in the land.
Really?
With the building of the church in the city that they lived in, and which is Lydda, and it's mentioned in Acts of the Apostles.
Yeah.
And maybe one of my relatives was one of the
probably
persons who became Christian with Peter.
Yeah. Do you get the sense, Father, that a lot of people are leaving because the situation is not, you have two children?
Yes, this is correct. Mainly the young people, they are leaving because they can't see any better future back there in Israel, Palestine. It's very hard to live there with all the discrimination that they are facing.
Yeah.
Education, job opportunities, free life is the thing that will push them out and leave the country.
Okay.
Especially in the Christian community.
I think a lot of our viewers, their idea of the situation in Israel, Palestine, is not very clear. Right. They might not understand, for example, so what's the percentage of Palestinians in the population?
Palestinians, Arabs in Israel are 18%.
So 18, and all Palestinians are Arabs, right?
Yes.
See, it sounds like a silly question, but I don't think
No, not all
we know
Palestinians
that.
and Arabs. Before 1948, Jewish people were Palestinians too because they
Okay,
were born in
so the
Palestine.
designation Palestinian is
We are Palestinian Arabs are 18% of the population of Israel.
and they're called Palestinians because that's what the country was called before.
Yes, exactly.
because
we are
before it became Israel.
Like you're
Yeah.
Canadian.
Okay, so the Arabs, now not all Arabs are Muslim, obviously.
No.
What's the percentage of
and
Arabs?
not all Muslims are Arabs.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I know. So what's
Yeah.
the percentage of Arabs that are Christian?
Out of the Palestinian minority in Israel, 9.2% are Christian. Out of the
9
18,
of the 18, so that's like
Yeah.
what, 1% of the over.
1.7.
1.7, something like that.
And what is I guess the relationship or the dynamic between the Christian and the Muslim Arabs?
I guess overall it's a good relationship because we all, as Palestinians, facing the same hardship, in terms of discrimination and being less than second-class citizens in Israel.
So there's no.
But you can find here and there some problems, as well as you can find some problems between Christians and Christians or Muslims and Muslims.
Okay. And
we
again.
live all together. Like our next door neighbor is a Muslim.
Okay.
So we live in one community together.
But you don't live together with the Israeli Jews.
No.
No, but there are some cities, like 5 cities in Israel, are mixed cities since 1948 or
Okay.
before even 1948.
And even though the city is mixed, the neighborhoods aren't mixed, or is
No.
it?
Not the neighborhoods.
Okay.
The neighborhoods there is segregation in neighborhoods, segregation in schooling, segregation in
Yeah.
everything, but they call themselves mixed cities.
Yeah. Okay, I just have one more kind of background question. We hear about the West Bank, we hear about Gaza, and we think that sort of all the Palestinians are in there, but clearly they're not because you live in Galilee.
That's
So
right.
what is the difference between the Palestinians who
In-
are outside of the, I guess, occupied territories?
Right. In 1948, 800,000 Palestinians were displaced, and about 150,000 remained in what became Israel. And so that's the
So
difference.
like you
Like us.
or your
Yes.
family. So the ones who were displaced were the ones that ended up in either
some-
Egypt or Jordan.
Some on the West Bank, some in Europe, some in the
Okay,
States,
okay.
wherever,
All over the world.
all over the world.
Okay,
They
and
are
then
refugees.
So what is now the West Bank and
They're still
Gaza,
Palestinians, but some of them were displaced from the areas that became Israel, and some were already living there.
And this is the story of her family.
My father's family came from Lydda, which is now in Israel,
Uh-huh.
but they were forcefully displaced to what became the West Bank,
Okay.
and that's where most of them are now.
So I just want to go back to something you said in terms of the segregation. So just can you give me a sort of what would be like a manifestation of those walls that might exist? So could you go to the same store that the Jewish person goes to?
Yeah, I will start with segregation. Let's start it from the West Bank. If you go to the West Bank, you can see walls. You can see
Well,
the
real
checkpoints,
walls, yes.
real walls that you can touch. But
like in the mixed cities.
in the mixed cities within Israel, there are invisible walls that you can see. But there are walls that forbid many things for Palestinians to participate or to be part of. Just like sending my kids to a Jewish school,
Uh-huh.
I can't do that.
You can't, or
I cannot.
Okay, so it's
And
not possible.
if I win in a court and let them in the school, they will be discriminated.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We, as you know, we post the question on our Facebook page, and so I just want to read a comment that came from one of our readers. This came from Gavro Milosevic from Belgrade. He says, "To bring more peace on this planet is to make human beings more civilized and decrease the amount of crime. The uttermost goal, of course, would be to decrease wars as well, to blur the boundaries between people and make this planet one big global village where international understanding would be a moral judge." Now, I mean, obviously, it's very much a secular response to the question,
Right.
but it also seemed to me that this idea of global village, it seems a very ideological idea of peace, and it made me think, do you feel that the peace process is held back because of ideologies? And I don't mean ideologies necessarily as a negative thing, but do you know what I mean? How long has this peace process in Israel been going on for? And it hasn't always been war.
No. But I think you can probably say that we take one step forward and then one step back. But it takes more to make peace, because we haven't reached the point where we understand each other and we're talking at the same level. We're not when you want to make peace, you talk eye to eye, and you're talking at the same level, not one high and one low, or one an army against one, that sort of scenario.
Right.
And I think we haven't got to that point yet, and we need to learn and teach more respect for each other and more accepting of each other.
Can I just ask you then one quick thing? Because you obviously have, and you've told me, not just today but before, that peace is possible.
Yes.
What would a peaceful Palestine/Israel would look like?
We heard lots of terms, and the main thing was coexistence. Coexistence, as Susan said, should be on the same level. Coexistence can be between the horse and the owner of the horse, but we need coexistence on the same level, equality, just to let us feel that we belong to this place, to Israel. Let us feel that we are equal with others. We are not like less than second-class citizens. This is something, step one, to accept each other, to reconcile, and to speak about toward peace, together, and plan for one country for two people.
Okay, as opposed to two.
Instead of two countries for two people.
Yeah.
Because when
one
you build,
state for two people.
when you build walls, you're always afraid of what's behind the wall.
Yeah.
But when you build bridges, you always meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Right.
We need to take a little break right now, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. In particular, we're going to look at an amazing program that Father Samuel and Susan are involved with, so don't go anywhere.
Let us know your perspective. Email us at perspectives@saltandlighttv.org or reach us by mail, Perspectives at Salt and Light Television, 114 Richmond Street East, Toronto, Ontario, M5C 1P1, or call us toll free at 1-888-302-7181. Let your perspective be heard.
I like to build friendship and learn about other cultures.
To meet friends from Canada and other friends from Israel.
We can't live without peace, and I'm here in Canada to make a great peace from three faiths, and I love the peace very much.
So actually I learned a lot of things just about Christianity even. We were even giving each other like a lesson sort of, and so.
I've learned that if everyone cooperates, it can be done. Like the high ropes, if everyone can cooperate, then you will get to the top. We would all have to trust each other to be there for you when you're gonna fall, which was also pretty fun.
I'm feeling that I'm going to die because I'm going to go far from my friends from Canada, and I don't like it.
Now that was a taste, a little teaser of the Kids for Peace program. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about the background of that, but if you're interested, you should check out their website, kidsforpeace.ca. Now, you obviously are involved very much so with Kids for Peace. Father Samuel, you're the international director, or the national, I'm not sure, the director of a lot of countries of Kids for Peace. What's the logic? How is a program like Kids for Peace going to bring about peace? You were talking about understanding, so.
Yeah, the Kids for Peace is a project that we put together in the Episcopal Diocese of Jerusalem, and we have partners all over the States and Canada.
Okay.
And because we believe that it's possible to live in peace, and we try to put the seed of peace in these kids of 11 years old, Christians, Muslims, and Jews. So we have in the program we have 12 kids, 4 Christians, 4 Muslims, and 4 Jews that they meet in the Galilee. Specifically, I'm talking about the Galilee Toronto chapter.
Yes.
So we meet in the Galilee for 10 months before we come here, and we come here for 2 weeks to live in peace with another group of kids,
Of the Canadian kids.
of the Canadian kids, just to give them an example, to give our kids an example how the people here in Canada, the multicultural community here, can live together in peace.
Now, is it also that if the Jewish, Muslim, and Christian kids from, in your case, from the Galilee, get to know each other, become friends, see that there are, they're not monsters, that's
They're all
all
kids.
really
Yeah.
you need to understand each other, to be able to see each other, to speak to each other eye to eye?
It's amazing how they find out how similar they are,
Yeah.
and how a lot of
Yeah.
the things they like, the others like as well.
Yeah, they're all on Facebook, so.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's a way, it might not make peace now, but they are kids who are 11 and 12 years old who make a difference in the future.
Okay, so then that was going to be my next question. Does it work? Can these kids really be friends? Or do we need to wait until they're grown-ups and get involved in
There's no
politics?
guarantees for that, for sure. But we try to put the seed of peace inside each kid of these kids, and we will let the Lord do His
Guide it.
guide it and grow this seed.
Yeah.
So we try to help them in that, in meetings, in connecting each other. But
So you
never
continue
know.
working. You continue
Yeah.
working with them
Yes.
when they
Yeah,
go back.
when they go back, we continue working with them for a few
But
meetings.
you never know what will happen because they're kids and they live with families and in a community that has segregation.
No,
And
but I think
so-
it's a phenomenal program because everything you've said about speaking to each other as equals, eye to eye, understanding starts with getting to know each other and
Right.
becoming friends, kicking a soccer ball together.
Right.
Just what they did a lot
We
of.
put them in one room, like we had
Yeah.
the Muslim, Christian, and Jew in each room.
Yes.
And this is a big chance for them to live together, to have them roommates.
And many of them, before coming to the program, they never met, especially Jews have never met a Muslim or a Christian before, or an Arab.
Interesting. Now, Kids for Peace it's you don't focus on the politics.
No.
Why?
Because we feel like politics is something that everybody is dealing with. That's first.
Okay.
And we are, as a Christian church, we want to focus more on the Abrahamic faiths, that
it's
we have many things in common. We have a common ground that we can talk about.
So it's a faith-based
It's
program.
an interfaith
It's an
program.
interfaith program. So you don't feel that in order to truly overcome the challenges that they have to face the political issues?
Many times the political issues will come onto the surface.
Okay, so
and we deal with them,
Okay.
but this is not our focus.
Okay. So the idea is that you look at the 3 different faiths.
Exactly,
you
and
learn
that
about
we
each other's
all were
faiths.
created on God's image, and we have to live together in dignity, peace, justice.
Peace, truth,
Truth,
justice, and
justice,
peace. Let me read another comment that came in. So the same question, where does the peace process begin? And we got this comment from Helen Francisco, who wrote from the Philippines. We don't have peace in ourselves if Christ is not in our lives.
Right.
We may say, I have peace because we chose it, but actually Christ is in us, and that's why we have peace. So can you have real peace without... I hesitate to say Christ. I mean, we're a Catholic network, but without faith.
Well, the peace comes from like a relationship that's like a triangle,
Like-
sort of.
like the
That-
Trinity?
Like the Trinity.
Exactly.
You have to have peace in yourself first, peace with yourself, and then peace with God and peace with your neighbor.
Okay,
And
so if you don't have a relationship with God, then that's a peace that's
it's
missing.
It's not in one direction. You can't have a peace without having. So it's like on a.
You can't.
Access.
On
an access that you can't have peace with God without having peace with your neighbor, and you can't have peace with your neighbor without.
It's funny because I shouldn't struggle with it in this context because clearly, like I said, it's a Catholic program. We're a Catholic network, but so the people that are working for peace, who have no faith, are they wasting their time, or is that valid?
No, that is a secular peace. too, but from our faith as Christians, that we believe in Christ, that He is the Prince of Peace. He came to the world as a Prince of Peace. So this is the message from Christ,
right,
the Lord. Like, go and teach others about Christ, about the Prince of Peace.
Right.
Yeah. And you can't get peace with your neighbor unless you have the inner peace first.
Okay.
And the inner peace, this is
Comes
something
from your
that
faith.
comes from our faith.
It does come from your faith.
Yeah.
So inner peace. Yeah, because that's the other thing. I thought, you ask people on the street,
It's
and
just
everybody has
like Trinity, as you say.
Yeah.
You can't, divide it.
When you look at
Peace in myself, peace with you, peace with God.
When you look at countries like South Africa,
Yes.
we talked about this, or even the former Yugoslavia, or the Czech Republic and Slovakia, even Poland. I don't know about Russia, the Soviet Union, maybe. Does that give you hope? That your idea
that will give us hope on a political level.
Okay.
Not hope on a faith level.
So you need
faith
more.
level. Even you can live in peace while the whole world is in war. You can live in peace. Inside the war, you can find peace.
I was just going to say, and we are completely out of time, but just one quick little question. You look at countries like Canada, or North America, United States, England, where people are so stressed and busy, about making money and work, and there's no peace there either.
Right.
In some sense, maybe there's more peace in a war-torn place where people are forced to look inside of themselves than in a secular environment like here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you have peace in your heart, then you'll find time for your neighbor, for your family, for your peers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that's maybe a good place to end with that comment. It's time for our last words. We always leave the last word to the one who is the word. And so this Sunday's gospel is from Luke. Luke chapter
Can I open it in Arabic?
14. You can open it in Arabic. You speak English, come on. Anyway, I'm only reading verses 26 and 27. Whoever comes to me and does not hate their father and mother, spouse and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and even their life itself, cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. So that's from Luke chapter 14, verses 26 and 27. Father Samuel, would you like to read it in Arabic?
إن كان أحد يأتي إلي ولا يبغض أباه وأمه وامرأته وأولاده وإخوته وأخواته حتى نفسه أيضا فلا يقدر أن يكون لي تلميذا ومن لا يحمل صليبه ويأتي ورائي فلا يقدر أن يكون لي تلميذا.
Any thoughts on that reading, Susan?
Well, I'm going to focus on the second verse about carrying the cross. And Jesus never promised that if we follow him, we would have an easy life. And we have many crosses, whether we live in Canada or we live in our area. And they're different crosses, but we carry them. And if we follow the path of Jesus, he carries the cross on our behalf. And that makes it easier for us to live a life.
Thank you. Father Samuel?
But the end of the Via Dolorosa there was resurrection.
Yes, of course.
There is resurrection after carrying the cross all the way.
Yeah.
There's resurrection for everything, even for peace. There's resurrection for peace. I would say the verse 26, to hate your father, your mother, it's kind of tough word to hate. I feel that Jesus meant here just to focus on him. Don't forget your family. Don't forget your father, your mother, your family. No, because Christianity based on a family. When Jesus born, he was in a family, the Holy Family.
Yes.
So the focus will be Jesus, but don't forget those who are related to you.
Well, thank you so much. That's, I guess that's the lesson for me, that peace has to do with relationship, which is why programs like Kids for Peace make sense. Friendship leads to peace. Our two guests have been Father Samuel Barhoum, his lovely wife Susan. Father Samuel is the rector of the Episcopal parish, the Anglican parish in Rainy Holy Family. Good parish for you to be in. and they're also very involved with the Kids for Peace program. If you want to find out, again, more about Kids for Peace, visit their website, kidsforpeace.ca. We're going to put a link to that on our website as well if you didn't write it down quickly. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for your insights on peace. And we might be finishing this conversation here right now, but the discussion continues on Facebook. Visit our Facebook page, facebook.saltandlighttv.org, and be sure to check out our website as well, saltandlighttv.org/perspectives. You can watch all our Perspectives programs, either the weekly or the daily edition, on demand there. And that's also where we post our question of the week. And remember, we cannot do this show without your perspective. So check it out. Thank you for being with us. May God bless you and your home, and may God bless Israel and Palestine. Talk to you next week.